Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. It has been a little while, as per usual. If there was an award for the most inconsistent YouTube uploads, it would definitely go to us. I am sorry. If you found our last video, part 1, beneficial, you've probably finished building your house by now. This video is step 2 of our series about becoming an owner builder. It's all about house plans, dwelling placement on your property, things that you need to consider. I've got checklists that you'll be able to screenshot that might make the process a little bit easier. It's just all things that we have learnt. So if that's something that interests you, then just stay tuned and keep watching. I failed miserably. We did it. So as I was saying earlier, it has been quite a long time since our last video. I think it's actually been about 6 months. And a lot has happened in the past 6 months. So I'm kind of going to give a little bit of a life update. If that doesn't interest you, skip forward to this time that I will put on the screen. And that's where the actual house plans part 2 situation will start. Everyone else who might be interested, especially if you've been an OG subscriber, I do apologise, there's going to be background noise because I've obviously got Van in here and dogs, and if I wait for a time where I have no disturbances, this will never happen. So in the last 6 months, we've done a lot of stuff on the house. We've also got a new member in our family. His name is Costin and he is now 3 months old. I think I was like 6 or 7 months pregnant when I filmed our last video. So we are now a family of 4 and been loving that transition. He's just slotted in beautifully to our little family. So hence why it's taken me such a long time to make this video. I've just been really busy. I'm gonna be really honest. So Dane's been working really hard around the house to get jobs done, especially before Costin was born. We now actually have concrete the entire way around our house, which is probably the most exciting part because there's less sand inside. Still lots of sand beyond the concrete, but we're getting less sand inside, which is really great. We have also got the stairwell, all the flooring is down there, and it's also down in our bedroom upstairs. Dane worked hard to get that done. So yeah, we've got this beautiful, I think it's European oak on the stairs and up in our bedroom now. And we also have our wardrobes done upstairs, which has been just amazing for storage. We kind of took a little bit of inspiration from the caravan life and we put, Dane built the bed and then he built it so that there's gas struts and we now have storage under there as well. Can't really remember if we had our screen away blinds in, but we now have those in our bedroom and also in Vanda's room. Van's room is coming along nicely. We still need to put his bunk bed in, which is why there's a spare mattress in there. But his wardrobe is now done and yeah, we've got some toy storage and stuff happening in there. So it's starting to feel a little bit more like a bedroom. The cabinetry is pretty much nearly all finished. There's a couple of doors left that Dane needs to do, but I have finished off all of our cabinet handles. They've all been made and fired and glazed. So they are now on the cabinets as well. We also refinished the floors in the main living area because they were driving Dane crazy after building. There were just big scratches on them and they were a bit speckled and stuff. So he's a lot happier with them now. So that's been done as well. There's not really much left to do in here. Main focus now is going to be outside. Our pool shell has arrived. There's 2 there. The second one isn't ours. We are just looking after it for someone at the moment. But yeah, so the pool will eventually go in the ground. We've got fencing to do, driveways that still need to go down, lawn that needs to go down, heaps to do out there. So that's our main focus now. Yeah, so that's just a little bit of a life update of what's been happening around the place. I think we're ready to actually get into part 2 of becoming an owner builder. Like I said in our previous video, also if you haven't watched that, highly recommend watching it before you watch this one because I am going to be referring to things that are in that video. Huge disclaimer, I will put it on the screen. We are not builders, we are not architects, we are not residential drafts people. We are just people who have built a house, gone through the process and want to share our journey. The very first thing that I think is important to discuss with your partner if you are building with someone is your priorities. Everyone's going to have different priorities of what they see to be important for either aesthetics or energy efficiency or budget or whatever. You kind of need to discuss those things at the very beginning so that you have a bit of an idea of what each other wants. For me, it was high ceilings and lots of natural light. Being a smaller home, I didn't want it to feel really closed in and dark and small. I wanted it to feel very big and open. So that was high on my priority list. So once you've done that, I've made a whole separate checklist of things that you will want to look at and consider when thinking about the placement of your house on your property. So the first thing that I've got is complete checklist, the checklist from our step 1 video. That's going to help you with all of the following. The second thing that you want to do is discuss your preferred house placement on your property, taking the following into consideration if it's applicable to you. Not all of it will be. So obviously you're going to have a place where you want to put your house. So for me, I actually wanted this house up the back of our property, not up the front, but because of a few different things, we ended up putting it here. You want to take the following into consideration: your BAL rating, if you need to get one, the Cultural Heritage Act, if that's applicable to you, restrictions, encumbrances, covenants. You should know about all of those things from the first video. So you're now going to be thinking about where you want to put your house in regards to all of those things, but then also your land topography, which is obviously the different heights in the property. So our property is quite long, we're on a few acres. Our house situated here is actually, like the land where we are here is actually a metre higher than where it is at the back, but you would never really know looking across the property. And all of those heights and that should be on your site plan. So that will determine whether or not you need to build up a bit. Obviously your site works will be cheaper if you don't have to build up as much. Where is your water supply, if you have any? If you don't have any and you're on rainwater like us, where do you want to put your tanks? Where is your power dome if you have one? Obviously, the further you build your house away from your power dome, the more expensive your power run-in is going to be. And where is your sewage, or where do you want to put your septics, or where can you put your septics? Also, the last thing is your potential driveway length. So obviously, if we had built down the back, then our driveway would have been really, really long and it would have cost more money. At the end of the day, you've got to build where you want your house to be, but for us, there was also a budget that we had to stick to. So there were some things that we would sacrifice. So they're all things that you need to think about when you're talking about where you want to actually put your home. The other thing that is really, really important is to discuss the direction that you want your house to face: north, south, east, or west. You want to plan for energy efficiency, practicality, and aesthetics. So our house faces east. We get the beautiful morning sun through our front windows, and then in the afternoon, we only actually have one window, that afternoon sun in summer that comes through there. has quite a sting to it. Thankfully, we have the veranda over it, so it's not too bad. Our northern wall, same thing, doesn't have too many windows because we don't want the house to get too hot. So when we were putting our windows in, we were thinking natural light, how to maximize that without having a really hot house in summer and a really cold house in winter. So that's all stuff that you want to consider. Okay, so once you've gone through the house placement checklist, then you want to start looking at the house design checklist. The very first thing you want to do is discuss your preferred house size. Do some research regarding price per square meter in your area. This is a really, really tough one to talk about because things have also changed a lot in the last 3 years since we built our home. Inflation is crazy. People are paying a lot now for materials, a lot more than what we paid. And I know that there are a lot of builders in particular in our area who are not even quoting houses because it's too hard to, because the prices keep changing. So it is really hard to research that at the moment, but just do the best that you can to find out an average cost per square meter before you start designing your home, because you might have in your brain, oh, I want a 500 square meter house, and then you find out that it's going to cost $3,000 a square meter to build your house, and it completely changes things. So you've wasted all your time drawing up that house. So just try get a little bit of an idea, talk to people, do a little bit of research in the area, because what might be your preferred house size might not be what you end up with in the end. Once you have done that, you want to decide on an approximate. Everything at this point is very approximate. An approximate square meterage for your home. I say approximate because it's absolutely subject to change, but just come up with some sort of idea on the size of the house, the shape of the house that you want. Then my absolute favorite part of the entire owner building process, I have to say, is just get inspired and start sketching up some ideas, taking the following into consideration. Your priorities and your must-haves list that you should have already made. You obviously want to have that in the back of your mind. Something else you need to consider when starting to sketch up ideas is, are you building for resale or are you just building for yourself? So for us, we absolutely did not build for resale here. It's a 2x1. It's not going to be a sought after house, but for us, it's exactly what we needed and exactly what we wanted. It doesn't mean we can't sell here eventually. It just means that we haven't built with other people in mind. We've just built with our family in mind. When we built our previous house, we built that with resale in mind. The next thing is overcapitalization. Don't do it. We could have very easily overcapitalized where we are because we're a little bit out of town, so prices are generally a little bit cheaper. If we'd gone and built a massive extravagant house here, we would have spent a lot of money on it and we would just never get it back. Just keep that in mind for your area. Another good one to talk about is that a square house can be cheaper. Obviously, I say can be cheaper. It depends on what you build your house out of and a million other things, to be honest. But for example, this house here on the left is 100 square meters. It's 10 meters by 10 meters. Whereas this house on the right is also 100 square meters of internal space, but it's 20 meters by 5 meters. Not that you would probably ever build a house like that, but they're both the same square meterage floor space, but the house on the left has 40 lineal meters of material and the house on the right has 50 lineal meters of material. So it's 10 extra lineal meters of cladding and everything else that you need to consider in price difference. Just a little thing to keep in mind. Something else that you want to think about is, do you want outdoor areas, like outdoor living areas like patios, verandas? You can place them very strategically for energy efficiency and obviously just aesthetics and enjoyment. Something else to consider when you are looking at building your house is that wet areas, bathrooms, laundries, kitchens are generally the most expensive part of a house to build, just due to fixtures, tiles, everything like that. There's generally a lot happening. Hence why we have a bathroom / laundry. It's all in the same area. There's things that you can do to make it cheaper if you keep them close together. You don't necessarily have to have them in the same room, but if your bathroom and laundry were right next to each other, your plumbing runs aren't going to be as far. If you can even have your kitchen somehow in the same area, it's going to be cheaper again. So something that you want to consider is, just keeping them minimalistic and as close together as possible. That's obviously a budget saving tip. The next thing you want to do is be very strategic with window placements. Think aesthetics, but also efficiency. As far as energy efficiency goes, you do have to do an energy efficiency report, and we will talk about that when we get to the Shire application stage of this series. But I have spoken about this a little bit already. Your windows kind of will affect how hot and cold your house is going to be in summer and winter. So really spend time thinking about that, trying to visualize your home. Where the sun's going to be in summer is different to where it's going to be in winter. For example, our two northerly windows that are straight up there, the two triangular ones, they have an eave over them, and so in summer the eave actually blocks the sun from coming directly into the house through those two windows, but in winter the sun's lower and it does stream straight into the house, which is nice because you want the house to be warmer in winter. So there's definitely things that you can think about to make your house more efficient. The next thing that you want to think about is storage in your home. Think about your current belongings. How much of it are you taking with you when you move into your new home, and where are you going to store it? This house is 60 square meters on the ground floor, 20 extra upstairs, so 80 square meters all up. Our previous home was 300 square meters. This house, our 80 square meter home, has so much more storage than our 300 square meter home. Storage, part of me, is so important to me, and I really missed the mark on that on our old house. I really wanted this house to have good storage. You don't have to build a massive house to have lots of space to store your things. So that's something else to think about as well. Are you keeping your current couch? Is it going to fit in your new place? How do you want it to fit in your new place? Think about bed sizes. Think about future plans and the current fridge that you have. Are you building a recess to fit that fridge, or to fit a generic fridge? Or if you have inbuilt cupboard space like us for the dryer and the washing machine, what's the most generic size for a washing machine or a dryer, or things like that. There's a lot to think about, and I guess I'm trying to help save you time by thinking about things before you start drawing. We drew this house so many times, probably 8 or 9 times. Plans changed due to either surprises that we hadn't thought about or just getting better ideas. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier. Again, I'm just kind of sharing what I think would have been helpful to know before we started drawing our home. Once you have gone through that list, you want to draw an overall rough plan and consult whoever you need before going to a draftsperson. When I say that, I drew up this house. I am not a carpenter. I have in my brain what I want, but I don't know if it's even physically possible because I don't have the skills to know that. Fortunately, I'm married to a carpenter, and as I was drawing, I'd be like, I'm picturing the ceilings like this, but is this physically possible with this floor plan? How does this work? Is this going to be super expensive? So Dane would sit there and he'd be like, look, we can do this and this and that. So if you've got people in your life that you can consult, plumbers, sparkies, tradies, whatever, ask lots of questions. Get an idea of how your kind of dreams are going to pan out in reality. So it's always good to have a chat to people before you go to a draftsperson, because once they start drawing up your home, obviously any changes that you make to it after that, they then have to go back and make changes. You're probably going to get charged for that. So really spend some time thinking about what you want, and talk to people around you to see if it's going to be realistic and cost effective. So now you've been through the house design checklist. The next thing you want to do, the most exciting part, is get a piece of grid paper and draw your floor plan to scale. Remembering that it is still your very first draft, it will change. Then what's also really handy is draw your house on your site plan where you want it to be situated. Stand on your block, envision it? Are you too close to the road? Are you too close to your neighbors? So once you have done that, the next step is to mull over it. Mull over your plans. Mull over your house plan, where you want on your block, and then some more and some more. Do not rush this step. We did not go to a draftsman for a few months. We had our plan. I imagined living in the house. Every time I did something in the house that I was currently living in, I would try and picture what that would look like in our new house. What don't I like about the house that I currently live in that I could change about my new house and make it better in my new house? Think about all of these things. Imagine yourself living in your new home. Imagine yourself building your new home, and really mull over your plans and make changes as you go. It's a working draft. And it will be one up until you've got your plans finalized and they're submitted to the Shire. So don't rush this step. Take your time, think about all of the things that you want and make sure that it's solidified before you get your plans drawn up. Right, after you've done that, you can draw some rough elevations, internal elevations, external elevations, picture your kitchen, picture your verandas outside, draw your windows in, see if your house looks good from the outside, from the inside, see if it's practical, and start thinking about an electrical plan as well. Where do you want ceiling fans? Do you want air conditioning? What kind of lights do you want? Where are they gonna be? How many are you gonna want? Things like that. I went pretty nuts with GPOs. We did not have enough of them in our last house. The very last step is just keep changing your plans to accommodate any new ideas until you are very happy with your first draft. So once you have completed all of these steps, you will be ready to start quoting up and getting an idea of the cost of your home. That's going to be a whole separate video. I will show you how we went about the process, and actually it worked out to be pretty accurate for us, which was really good. That's what our part 3 video is going to be about. Are you just getting sick of being over there by yourself? Do you want to come say hello? Come meet the fam. Come meet the YouTube fam. Look, thank you to our new subscribers. Thank you to our old subscribers. Thank you for all the really beautiful comments that we've been getting. Lots of questions. Our bench tops, that video has just in the last couple of months, our concrete bench tops video, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It has been very, very popular. Lots of love on that one. So thank you for all the kind words. A little update on them. No regrets. Love them. Would do them all over again. We're going to be building our table soon, which will also be concrete, and I will film it for any little tweaks that we have made in our process. We have done some more since for friends and that, and yeah, we have made a few little changes. But yeah, absolutely no regrets. Love them. Would do them all over again. I don't think I will ever have a different kind of bench top ever, because they're just so functional. They're so practical. They were cheap to do. They look cool. Yeah, just love them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was a helpful video. As always, please stay tuned for part 3. I will try and be faster with that one. You can't wave yet, but let's do it like this.